Hey everyone, welcome back to the Freedom Network. Today we're diving into a law that every National Guard and Reserve member needs to know, USERRA, the Uniformed Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act. Whether you're prepping for drill, mobilization, or a year-long deployment, this law protects your civilian job, benefits, promotions, pension rights, and even healthcare continuity. But most importantly, it protects your future. Let's break down your rights, key resources, and what happens when your employer gets it wrong. Let's get into it. What is USERRA? USERRA is a federal law that applies to every employer, public, private, unionized, non-union, and guarantees your right to return to your job after military service. This includes drills, annual training, mobilizations, SAD under federal orders, and emergency activations. And your status as an employee doesn't matter. Even if you're part-time, temporary, or on probation, USERRA still protects you, and I'll cover that a bit more later. Now, there are additional protections offered at state level for entities such as state defense forces, like the Naval Militia and the New York Guard, and I go over those in another video. So let's go over USERRA eligibility checklist. To qualify for USERRA protections, you must be leaving a civilian job to perform uniformed service, provide advanced verbal or written notice, not exceed the 5-year cumulative limit with many exceptions, and return to work within the required timelines. You must also serve under honorable conditions. So let's talk about time off before service. What does the law say? Now, a common question is, do I have to start military duty immediately after leaving work? You do not have to go directly from your civilian job to a military base. Under USERRA, you're entitled to reasonable time to prepare for duty, including travel, rest with regard to proper work-rest cycle, and putting your affairs in order. If you worked an overnight shift and are scheduled for drill the next morning, you're not expected to report for military service exhausted. You're allowed to take time off to be fit for duty. And even if your orders are canceled after you've left your job, you still keep your USERRA rights. So let's talk about returning to work. Timelines matter. So depending on how long you served, let's say less than 31 days, you must report by the next scheduled workday plus 8 hours. 31 to 180 days, apply for reemployment within 14 days. Greater than 180 days, you have 90 days to return. Were you injured while performing your military service? You have up to 2 years to recover and return to work. Now, you do not need employer permission. USERRA makes this clear. You are not required to get permission from your employer, only to notify them verbally or in writing. One important thing to remember is that it's best to leave a paper trail. If your employer is giving you an issue with your notification, you should keep a copy of any documentation you use to make your notification. And if it has to be a verbal notification, just keep track of who and when you notify them. USERRA is the supreme law. Section 4302, Supremacy Clause of USERRA, combined with the U.S. Constitution, makes it clear. Nothing in USERRA shall supersede, nullify, diminish any federal or state law, contract, agreement, or union policy that gives more benefits. But any policy that reduces or limits your rights under USERRA is void. That includes union contracts, local HR policies, and outdated state or agency rules. USERRA trumps them all. And for those who need a reminder, General Grant didn't surrender to General Lee. Federal law wins. So let's talk about employee status. USERRA rights are not diminished because an employee holds a temporary, part-time, probationary, or seasonal employment position. However, an employer is not required to re-employ an employee if the employment he or she left to serve in the uniformed services was for a brief, non-recurrent period, and there is no reasonable expectation that the employment would have continued indefinitely or for a significant period. The employer bears the burden of proving this affirmative defense. ESGR is your free protection service. If you're facing pushback, ESGR, Employer Support for the Guard and Reserve, is your free federal mediation service. They educate employers, mediate disputes, or can refer serious violations to the Department of Labor's Vets Division. If you want to learn more about ESGR or file a complaint, check out the ESGR website linked below. Let's talk about the ROA so you can research like a pro. The Reserve Organization of America hosts a subject index filled with USERRA topics, case law, legal interpretations, and policy clarifications. This is the place where I learned everything that I know about USERRA, and it's an excellent resource. Use it when HR won't budge, you want to cite specific sections, or you need examples of similar cases. Check out the ROA's website, where you can read about specific situations where USERRA protections helped service members with their employers. And although this is a free resource, I highly recommend becoming a life member of the ROA due to the amazing advocacy work they do for service members. I'll drop that link below as well. As for pension credit for New York employees, your pension time is also protected by USERRA. If you're in a public retirement system like New York State LRS, you may be eligible to buy back your military time under Article 20 for prior military service and Sections 242 and 243 for service while you are employed. I made a video about buying back pension time in New York State, and you could check that out here, and I'll post a link in the description as well. So let's talk about reemployment with a disability. If you're injured during your service, your employer must make reasonable accommodations, place you in a job with equal seniority, pay, and status, and if that's not possible, the nearest equivalent. You can't be penalized for serving, or for coming home with an injury or ailment caused or exacerbated by your service. I hope you walk away from this video knowing that USERRA is not optional. It's a powerful law, and you've got a network of support behind you. And if you're in doubt, stand your ground. Federal law is on your side. I hope this video is helpful, and please don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the Freedom Network, and drop your questions or stories below. Until next time, stay informed, stay protected, and as always, stay free.